I did one video already about Kouri Richins and this whole idea of the cell phones. And I was going through the warrant and making a case for the idea that there is this thing called forensics, electronic forensics, search warrants, where, hey, they can take your phone, take your computer, take your laptop, go back through and see what kind of searches you have done to use that as evidence to determine whether or not you might have been the person who killed your husband.
Yeah.
In this video, I'm going to take a look at what has been shared from law enforcement regarding the searches that she did. Now, I think she has said, her husband got sick, that sort of thing. She gave him this Moscow Mule to drink. Turns out law enforcement is alleging that she laced it with fentanyl, and that was what ultimately caused his death. Now, I've already done a video on the warrant. I've already done a couple of other videos about this, about how she wrote this book about grief. It's been taken down from Amazon. It's no longer on Amazon at this point in time. Then there were some conversations about a documentary. You guys, I just can't keep up here with this case and what it is she was trying to do. I'm going to do a number of other videos on this too, because there's just so much here to talk about. But in this instance, I want to go to these pictures, this evidence of what she was searching for. And this first one is, and some of this, I'm just thinking at some point in time, it just doesn't make sense. You can see I'm just like fumbling all over my words in this video because I am legitimately confused about some of this. I really am. And we're going to talk about it as I go through some of this. And maybe you can help me out, help me understand why I'm having some confusion here. This was one of the searches. This is one of the searches. She is actually looking up Utah State Prison, Utah inmate roster. Now, I'm not going to make any claims about what she was looking for here. I'm sure we're going to get more into that as this case moves forward, but I want to go through some of this. What happens to deleted messages? Kouri Richins is asking what happens to deleted messages. This is an article. It says at the bottom of this, the use of telephonic communications to solve criminal cases is not a new development, but remains a highly controversial topic. Almost 20 years ago, the LA Times reported on how law enforcement agencies viewed mobile phones as a powerful resource in investigations and trials. It makes it sound like she has some messages on her phone and she wants to know, hey, if I delete them, can they come back and get them? How would they go about doing that? How far back is this information maintained by the cell phone service provider? I don't know. I need to actually look this one up and actually see what it says on that page, and we can do a better, we can maybe do another video on what actually she might have saw when she went to this particular page. Vox article. Apparently, it looks like she looked at this. It says, police can't read your iMessages, but here's what they can see. Apple can tell them who you've tried to ping. And this is actually a 2016 article. So we're talking about something that's 7 years old for one thing. So I hope she was not relying on this. But yes, we all know by now that your phone can tell where you are, where you have been, based on it pinging certain cell tower locations. It's one of the things that was in the warrant. She was stating she didn't go back to the bed, that her child was having night terrors. And so she stayed in the other room. But the warrant says that her cell phone is telling on her and her cell phone is saying something different. So here's what they can see. At least that's what this article shared information about. Then we have the 5 things you need to know about the new Utah State Prison and when the old one will be torn down. Now, this is where I get confused. This is truly where I get confused, because I'm going to do a video on this other person that she was contacting to get the drugs. Okay, I'm going to do another video on that. And I don't know, was this person possibly in Utah State Prison? But was she actually? Maybe. I don't know why. But could she have been thinking, well, if I get caught and I go to prison, what is it going to look like? Will it be this new Utah State Prison? When will the old one be torn down? What will it be like? Well, here are 5 things that I might need to know. And this article was from 2021 and it's now 2023. So why is she looking up what life is like in this Utah State Prison? 5 things you need to know. When will the old one be torn down? Another article, Bladen Online, delay in claim payment for death certificate with pending cause of death. This was a 2020 article. Now, there is some information out there about the fact that her husband had already told his family, supposedly, that if something happens to me, Kouri is to blame. And apparently, there had been some changes in the estate plan. She didn't know about it. And now you have this search here, delay in claim payment for death certificate when pending cause of death. So she's wondering, maybe, okay, this is just me thinking this through. Maybe she's thinking, okay, so what if they can't figure out what his cause of death was? Is there going to be a delay in getting the death certificate? And if there's a delay in getting the death certificate, will there be any following delay in getting any life insurance proceeds or other benefits? So it sounds like that's what a person would be concerned about. Next we have, now we get to the life insurance. Cause of death usually does not impact life insurance payment. Unless, now this is a 2016 article, it says unless a suicide was involved and occurred within contestability period. Some life insurance policies will have provisions in there that say that if a suicide happens within the first year, the first 6 months of the policy, then we won't pay out. And I'm sorry, my face is like itching. Let's see what this one said. And that would be the contestability period. Let's see what this one says. It says many people mistakenly assume that the cause of death might impact whether the life insurance company pays the claim for life insurance. Under most circumstances, however, the cause of death would only directly impact the life insurance company's decision to pay the benefit owed. 1, if the deceased committed suicide, and 2, if the death occurred within the look-back period, referred to as the contestability period. This rule would not apply to an accidental death policy. Now, why would you even need to know this? Why would you need to know whether or not the cause of death is going to impact a life insurance payment if you're thinking in advance that there's going to be a problem with determining what the cause of death is? Next up, Wall Street Journal article. FBI conducted potentially millions of searches of Americans' data last year, report says. Searches and national security investigations came without warrants, could stoke privacy concerns in Congress. I actually remember when this came out. It was one of those things that got a lot of press for a minute, and then most people went back to, getting up, cooking their breakfast, and going to work and not really thinking about something like this. But if you're a person who's worried about who has access to what should be your private information, an article like this might be of interest to you. If you're concerned, well, wait, can the FBI go back and search? Has the FBI already been searching some of my data and I didn't know it? Does the FBI already know? Which is an interesting thing because you're doing the search now. So I don't know. It's really weird. It's really weird. How do police and forensic analysts recover deleted data from phones? We're back to this data on the phones again. Can police really recover deleted pictures or text messages from Android or iPhone devices? Or is it purely fiction? This article, look. I think it was from 2022, it looks like. Again, interest in, who has she been texting that she doesn't want law enforcement or someone else to know about? Okay, we've got a Google search here. Is a circumstance unknown an accident? Yeah, I'm not really clear what she's looking for here, but I guess it's sort of like what is an indication of an accident and what isn't? What kind of circumstances would lead someone to believe that something was or was not an accident? One pill can kill, understanding the risks. Look at this. Look at this. Who's actually searching for this unless you're taking them or giving them to someone? It says, as overdose deaths skyrocket, an addiction medicine specialist explains the drug's dangers and urges community members to learn what they can do to save lives. Who's looking for this unless you're in a situation where you're concerned about yourself or someone else you know? We've got another Google search here. How long does life insurance companies take to pay? Well, here's the thing. I mean, pull out your policy and look at it. Call up your agent and ask. But if you think you're doing it on the down low and nobody else is going to find out about it, then you do a Google search. She did a Google search, but guess what? We all now know that she did a Google search about it. So it says showing results for how long does life insurance companies take to pay. It says life insurance providers usually pay out within 60 days of receiving a death claim filing. Beneficiaries must file a death claim and verify their identity before receiving payment. The benefit could be delayed or denied due to policy lapses, fraud, or certain causes of death. And we've already talked about suicide and the look back or contestability period. She's doing some research on this. 2 arrested after teenager overdoses and what police call dangerous local trend. Okay. The story behind Midway's unfinished mansion. Now, this is one where, this actually has to do with her because from what I've been reading in the media, she and her husband were looking at purchasing this. He possibly didn't want it. She possibly did. And then they maybe bought it. I don't know. I need to go back and look at that. I haven't gotten to that yet. Like I said, this is going to be a very complicated case going forward. But she's looking to see what's being said about them to some extent. How to hire someone to write a book for you. Oh, we're writing a book. Remember, she did write this book. This is the first time that I'm hearing that she may have been interested in hiring someone to write the book for her. My understanding, and I may be totally wrong, was that she was looking at writing this book because she wanted to be able to share it after her husband had passed. And this was going to be shared with their child. What we investigate. How does the FBI work a case? Who's looking that stuff up? I guess, if you're interested in something like this, a lot of people do. I'm sure a lot of people are interested in how murders get solved, what they look for, what they do. True crime is one of those things that tops the list in terms of people's interest, how we investigate. But the thing about it is, if you've been accused of killing your husband, then this becomes evidence that you may have been concerned about getting caught. It says here, it starts with world-class training provided to our agents, analysts, and other personnel of the FBI's training academy in Quantico, Virginia. The FBI's highly trained personnel then use intelligence, science, technology, and other tools to investigate federal crimes and terrorism. In some cases, the FBI turns to special tactics and teams to catch dangerous suspects in high-pressure situations. That's what she was reading about. Signs of being under a federal investigation. How do I know? How do I find out whether or not the FBI is looking at me? So it sounds like at some point in time, this may have been of interest to her. How do I know whether or not I'm a suspect? Find out if you're under government investigation as a federal contractor. When investigators contact you or agents serve you with a subpoena request, or you receive a DOJ target letter, you must be very careful of how you proceed next. When looking at obvious and not so obvious signs of being under federal investigation, and despite thinking that you have done nothing wrong, the reality is that agents will continue to investigate. If prosecutors believe that they can remotely have a case against you, then they will target you for an investigation and move forward with a possible indictment. Here's another search Kouri Richins did. Detective Jamie Woody relationship to Richins. Okay, I have no knowledge of what this is about, and apparently Google doesn't really know what this is about either. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to do some more research on why she was looking that up and why law enforcement thought it was important to pick this out. Like out of all of the searches she's doing, they said, hey, this is something of interest. Why? Jamie Nora Woody's Utah voter registration. Who is Jamie Woody? You guys, is this someone who's doing an investigation? I'm a little concerned now about what's going on because this is the person that she just looked up here. And now she's checking out this person's voter registration. And it sounds like this person may have been a detective because she's got detective in front of the name. And now she's looking up the person's voter registration. I don't know. Then we have Circle R Ranch, Summit County, Utah. She's looking that up. She's looking up that some more. And it says Circle R Ranch donates money, Summit County. Summit Land Conservancy comes up. But it looks like she actually clicks on this farm and that maybe she checked that out. I don't know what that is. They also pulled this up, and they've got some things redacted here. And that was actually a people search. All right, let's look at this one because they actually have some things highlighted here. Let's go down here. Can you delete everything on an iCloud account? Can you delete everything off an old iPhone without actually having it? There are a lot of misspelled words and phrases there. Can deleted text messages be retrieved? Can you change the password remotely of a lost cell phone? Can deleted text messages be retrieved from an iPhone? Can you change the password remotely of a lost iPhone? Log into an iCloud account. What do cops when they seize electronics? What information can be obtained from a cell phone? All of these are searches that it looks like Kouri Richins did and that law enforcement is concerned may be evidence to show that she was the person who killed her husband, Eric Richins. More searches here. Utah prison, women Utah prison, Summit County District Attorney. Can cops uncover deleted messages iPhone? How to lock my iCloud? What does lock lost iPhone actually do? Summit County District Attorney. How to find my iPhone? How to turn my iPhone off? We've got more. How to completely wipe an iPhone clear remotely. How to erase a phone data permanently with something number. How to permanently delete information from an iPhone. How to permanently delete information from an iPhone remotely. Is 21 days a law rule someone has to respond to a court complaint in Utah? Can cops force you to do a lie detector test? What happens if you are detained but never get read Miranda rights? Can probable cause be a testimony? What are you allowed inside Utah jails? Phone doc part city. Can mutual policy on life insurance cause of death? Will life insurance pay if death certificate says pending? Death certificate says pending. Will life insurance still pay? A federal correctional institution in Dublin, California. How to completely wipe an iPhone. You guys, it just goes on and on and on. If someone is poisoned, what does it go down on the death certificate as? How many people do you know look something like that up on Google? What is presumptive positive for, and now we're getting into her searches now we're getting into a list of searches here regarding drugs. And then we go back to the iPhone. Where is my location on iPhone? What prescription is issued to stop alcoholics? Again, there's some typos there, but that's what was being looked at. And then she starts looking at herself. Kouri Richins, reality net worth. Kouri Richins, commas, net worth. FBI analysis of electronics in an investigation. What is FBI analysis of electronics? How to delete Facebook. And I believe her Facebook account is gone. I think the one related to the book is still up there. I did show that in a video. Find My iPhone is off. Is location still correct? Can Find My iPhone work if off? Is Find My iPhone ever wrong? Okay, so now it sounds like we're looking to see how I can make a case for saying, well, yeah, so that's where my iPhone said I was, but really I wasn't there, because we know that iPhones can be wrong. She's looking that up. It sounds like that's the thought process there. Can FBI find deleted messages? What does FBI do with electronics for searches? FBI searching electronics. We see that up there. And we've got some more medical stuff here. Let's go to the next page. What is considered non-natural manner of death? Who determines cause of death on the death certificate? Can the cause of death be changed on a death certificate? What is white-collar crime? Why would the FBI be involved? Is the medical examiner report and autopsy report different? When does the FBI get involved in a case? How to find an author to write a book on you. And then fentanyl found in marijuana gummies. So I believe this last one here is where she was telling the officer, yes, he takes those. And she's trying to possibly put into the law enforcement's head that maybe that's where it came from. So if it's not me, because, you know, she doesn't want them to think it's her. If it's not me, go check that out. Next page. We still have more of these searches. How long does life insurance companies take to pay? What is a lethal dose? What is considered a lethal dose? Can a manner of death be changed on a death certificate? Change my passcode on an iPhone. And there's a lot here on Circle Ranch, Richins family donations to Summit County, and again about Jamie Woody and Richins, and Jamie Woody's relationship. And then everything on this page, I don't even know where to start. Some of it doesn't seem really important, so I'm wondering why it was included. For instance, this one that says, who is the mayor of Park County, I guess, or Park City? I'm not sure. But we've got more information here about her family and donations to the Summit County Police Department. I think there's going to be another story here that we haven't gotten to yet. If you're picking up on it, or if you have already heard about it, let me know as we go through this. Let me know in the comments what's going on with this donation to the police department and this relationship that she's talking about with this detective. How to find out if a family donated money to a police department. Richins family donate to Summit County Police Department. Money donations made to Summit County Police Department. You know, the thing about it is it's a public record, you know, but if you're trying to do things undercover, then you're not going to call up your government office and say, hey, I'd like to see the public records relating to all of the donations that have come in, because then that's just going to put more visibility on you, more eyes on you, and that's probably not what she wanted. What happens if you give Narcan to someone who doesn't need it? Is circumstance unknown an accident? How long does life insurance companies take to pay? And then we're back here with these family donations again. And Jamie Woody. Who is Jamie Woody? And what does Jamie Woody have to do with any of this? Because Jamie Woody's name keeps popping up. Circle R Ranch donates money. A lot there still about that. And that is it. That is a whole lot more than what I expected to see with this. Some of this I had no expectation at all that there was going to be some of this in here. I had not looked at it, but hopefully that brings you up to speed now with what law enforcement is looking at in terms of saying, hey, here were some of the searches that she conducted. She's asking about drugs. She's asking about cell phone and wiping it clean, and data, and FBI doing investigations. And I get it. Let's keep in mind for a second here that if you think someone is investigating you, then you're probably going to get on your computer or cell phone and start Googling some things so that you can educate yourself a little bit more about something. The question here is going to be, when did these searches take place? Did these searches take place 9 months before her husband passed? Because then that's an indication of something else entirely different. And that's called premeditation. All right, you guys, I hope that brings you up to speed with this case. We're going to be going over a number of documents. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow along and stay up to speed with what is going on. Mwah. Peace.